Welcome to the last match of this 3 versus 3 season, and we're playing against Kayagan from Maw. Little disclaimer up front, I'm a little bit in a weird mental state, so trying to get this video out and try to cover everything or the main key points, but if I just talk nonsense, please try to look over that. So thanks. As said, Kayagan is from Maw, and they already attacked me when I checked the board and it seemed like they couldn't full clear me, or I guess they were waiting on chips. And so I took a look at their defenses, and the north was nothing really threatening. But the south was interesting because Kaigan, they placed sort of a FU defense, maybe not. I didn't check their history, I didn't scout. Maybe they said it all season, or maybe they just wanted to, see how far they can go in the 3 versus 3, which I did last season. We had 3 versus 3. I played 6 GL defense and was just deal with it and I see what I can do on offense. So no hard feelings. It was very interesting. It actually piqued my interest. And interest in terms of how can I get through this wall without having 5 GLs myself. And there were some ideas. Especially for Ray, I figured Starkiller might be my best option. For JMK, because there's no GK, I thought about Maul initially, and the other thought I had for that was trying to ban seal counter, so I wouldn't use a GL there. With ban seal, I mean the counter of using Dash, Cat, and Vendor. But I also was thinking about using Dash, Vendor, and maybe Lando versus JML, sending a burner and then using that versus JML. However, I think that Barris makes this counter not impossible, but super hard. So you have to get her out, and I guess she's relic 7, health stacked and everything. So could be very tough for young Lando to chew through this. And so I thought, potentially I have to think about something else for JML. I also thought of using Starkiller there. But eventually, I think the best use for Starkiller here versus such a wall is against Ray. It's not a safe counter, but it's he has the best shot against her. And there was also the idea of potentially using JKR, JKL Armorer versus SLKR. However, this is the middle finger comp against Jedi of SLKR. So and I didn't have armor for offense this round. So this is also a reason why Maul, wouldn't have worked for me versus JMK. I think I already said that, so sorry if I'm repeating myself here. But anyway, so the GLs I had, I planned on using Lord Vader versus SKR and C versus JML, and then take out the other 3. And for Lord Vader of my opponent, I also thought about sending in the burner, but more on that later. But the first fight I started with was actually a different fight from the North Wall. It was trying to redeem myself from the loss I had last round against this GG team. And this time I again used my Mafma with K2 and Cassian. And I know what I did wrong last time. I used the heal too early and without any real reason, to be honest. And so I tried it again. And I think it's just the second time I'm playing this season, and it used to be a staple back then, last season, or last 3 versus 3 season. And I knew my ways and what to do, but here it's more like button mashing and just trying to avoid to press the heal. And eventually we press it, but more in a situation where I really need it. But here it's just trying to not... In this case, trying to not target B2, so he won't die, so that Grease doesn't take out K2. And then he heals it up a little bit, so it was okay. But here I eventually took out Magna, but then I got the healer Wable, brought back K2, all good, and now I just try and get my banners back, which might be easier if you replace Cassian with Kara. Or K2 with Kara. I think it's Cassian you pull out of the team. But I think this team is okay. It's a Relic 8 Grievous. I think it was even a Relic 9 isn't the problem. It's just death by 1,000 paper cuts and eventually also the resistance. Not resistance. What's the name of this guy? Worthless guy, I think he's called. He stacks up damage quite a bit. Like once you have his 3 dots of whatever that means. And yeah, so don't really get the banners back, but it's still like a good banners for the first try. So then I went to the south wall, and so versus Ray I used the comp I kind of like most at the moment, Vader, Mace and Starkiller, of course. The reason why I'm using Vader here is, number one, I don't have EP Mara available there on defense, and number two, I just like the control of this team. I have ability blocks, which is, I think, clutch versus the Armorer and Ray. Also to keep Hoda in check, and potentially also avoid to get whirlwinded by Ray. And if she does, like here you have a taunt, which then is damaging you, and so that's nice. So my whole goal was here, like taking out Armor first before she can apply 3 stacks of Beskar on Ray. I think Hoda is not so much a problem if you take him out next via the ultimate, which I had available already. But yeah, so this was the goal, keeping her ability blocked and also Ray. Vader barely made it, and also Starkiller was lowish green, but still okay. Again, ability blocks, took out the Armorer and then used the ultimate to get back to full health. Also, it's a special, so there's damage in Unity on Mace, who took another Whirlwind, which wasn't a real problem here. And now focusing on Hoda to get him out, just damage in Unity, which is unfortunate. No damage in Unity on Mace this time, but he's tanky enough to take at least 1 Whirlwind. Then ability blocks again from Vader, calling Starkiller to assist. And here I'm using the special to give damage immunity again to Mace, which didn't really matter because it took a next turn, but in case that there was a basic from Ray, she wouldn't have killed him. Now she took him out, which was okay. Had 2 left, then there's a Whirlwind, goes to Vader. I don't know why she does that, but seems to be consistent. And so Starkiller survives and takes her out for 50 banners. And then here is the fight, Dash with Cat and Vendor versus JMK. If there's GK, I think there's no way around taking out GK with the Whirlwind, but with Mace it's a little bit different. Not Whirlwind, Leap, Force Leap, I think it's the right term. So I really couldn't wait and then take out Cat right away, which I tried. It also takes some time to get the cooldowns off on Cat, and because there's no TM manipulation and there's just speeds, and my team isn't that fast outside of Dash. He's like 360 or something. It takes a while, and yeah, like the bit risky side of this team, because there is no GK, you would sometimes have Shatterpoint jumping around, and when it lands on Vendor it can be scary, so he is in yellow already. So they also target Vendor, which I think they didn't really do in the video when Cedar was showcasing. I can put a link in the video description later on. But other than that, it doesn't really matter. They just like take out either Cat, as you've seen here, or Dash, but it's not a problem because they are coming back because of Prepared and Vendor. But at the same time, it feels really wonky. There's almost no damage on my team. Little disclaimer, like my Dash I think is R7. Here I take out Cat eventually because Taunt was gone, which is great, and I had a Force Leap available. But my Vendor is just like Relic 7. I put him in the meantime to Relic 8, and I think Cat is Relic 8. But there's really like it's hard to stack damage on Cat here to eventually take, and even here like 40,000 damage. Like this is almost nothing. It felt pretty weird. I had a feeling that I'm doing less and less damage the longer the battle lasted. Of course, I shouldn't have used the leap here, just like stacking damage, but even that, like even the basics, even if there was no bonus protection on Mace, almost didn't do any damage to them. It felt like buggy. I don't know. Maybe there's something in the kit of Mace I forgot about. Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty weird, and it will be a timeout. So just like spoiler, but yeah, at least I got cat out, which is like a good thing. So I can clean this up, no problem. But it felt like I'm missing something here. Like I'm doing almost no damage, and there's no bonus protection. I'm just not critting. I guess I'm missing something from the kit, and when I read it later, I will be, that's why. Yeah, but other than that, it's a nice team. And spoiler, I still have JMK available. I kept him on offense this round. I don't use him though for the front wall. And last video I said, yeah, I would mirror this, or like, but this time I felt like, maybe mirror is not the best idea, because if I fail against Darth Vader, I still need a GL. And if I have an option to this like off meta, I then have JMK available to clean up a Lord Vader team. So talking about cleanups, I took in Maul with Bo and Django, and the basic idea is just like get your 5 stacks of Anguish and then take them out. And the ideal setup for taking them out is that the final low will be done by Django, because then they won't come back, which is what eventually happens against Mace. Here I was not really sure, but getting like his bonus life was already triggered, so it didn't really matter, but that's at least the idea. Let Django do the stuff. Then here, wasting the rocket, stupid. That was foresight. And yeah, just now it's a waiting game. Yes, ideally you want, have your 5 stacks of Anguish, so you can go all out on JMK. Ideally, just doesn't have bonus protection, or like almost none, so you can chew through him. And you can just get assisted. You can get back to some banner spec from for your team. So through Bo. Bo's unique, I think it is. But also you don't want to get killed, right? So here I just like try to burn down the bonus protection a bit, which was stupid. But yeah, it's the first, not the first time, but like sometimes you just have to go with the flow in these matchups. Yeah. And of course, the danger here is that JMK will ramp up his damage and one-shot your characters. So you have to be careful as well. Shouldn't take too long, but I think this is also like another showcase why you want a precision arrow, like an accuracy arrow on JMK, because he just misses so often. Could have taken out Django like 1,000 times already, but he doesn't, because he's just weird. But I won't complain. Mine has accuracy, so it's okay. Here, so you see he one-shots the characters suddenly. So got a little bit dicey at this point, but now got back to 5 stacks. He wasn't able to one-shot Django, and now I have 5 stacks. He doesn't have protection, so I was okay. This is the final blow on JMK. And then we have the second GL taken out off meta. Then I went in against JML, with C, Watt and Hank. Against R9, JML, I still prefer to have like this little bit of safety net, using an additional tank there. Because I remember like in the beginning when R9 came out, I tried to wing it, like just C and Watt, and it went downhill so fast. But with a tank, it's quite good. And other than that, this battle is straightforward. So you just link. I linked, of course, GMY because he gets more turns, so you get your ultimate faster, and then just take them out. I even got like the heal tank on Sunfag, but it didn't matter so much anymore. And now GMY is gone. JML got to his ultimate, but at that point in time, it doesn't really matter anymore. You just link them again, and could have pressed auto here, like do whatever you want. Not necessarily a hard counter, but the mix has a very easy time against Jedi usually. And I didn't press auto, of course, because why not? And just like waiting to get to my special again and then fry them. So bye bye. So the third GL down. Then I used Lord Vader against this comp. Like I said, it's a little bit the FU comp of Kylo Ren, but at the same time it's not. It's great against Jedi. So if you try that off counter against Jedi, it's pretty much impossible. I think JML might even have a hard time against this, but at the same time, because of the unique from the R, you're weakening your Kylo a bit, because if you pull down the R, you also got to health equalization with, and then this means that Kylo, like you've seen here, just suddenly is in the yellow without any real reason. Yeah, so that helps. But other than that, I just wanted to get Basti out. I focused a little bit on DR, but then I thought, oh, there's no tank, I can go for Basti. And I think this is like, again, such a match where the longer it takes, the better for Kylo, of course. So like it's always like that. In that sense, this character is just broken. But yeah, it's pretty much under control. B gets into ultimate, doesn't really bother me at this point. I'm still trying to get into mine, which will be available at some point, hopefully, like now. So I can, yeah, use the ult, and then from this point in time, it's rough for Kylo to catch up. Especially because now there's the ability block, he shakes it off, of course, but doesn't really matter that much. Lord Vader then is just too strong, at least as a solo character. When you use other characters, it's the opposite, and suddenly it gets weaker. But yeah, didn't even get my 60 stacks of whatever the thing is called, 58 banners, so that was nice. And then I sent in the burner, because this is how we're winning, not by using the characters that we hate, but those we love. I don't hate Rose, but just like, you know. I needed to send in the burner because what Thrawn does is when there is no other character that is faster than him, he will, under Lord Vader, prioritize Fracture as his first move. And I want to get Fracture out of the way, because he has two targets here. He either fractures Fennec or he fractures Bam. Both is bad. It will end in a failure of this counter. I think there's a 0% versus this comp on the history. And so I thought I'd send in a burner, get rid of Fracture. Then I can take out Maul, or at least have a shot at it, you know, like taking out Maul here. And then he still fractures Grief, but it's not really a problem, because now it doesn't really matter. I just keep Fennec alive, take Thrawn out, and Fracture is gone, and suddenly it's 3 versus 1, like it should be, or like it, yeah. It usually is the case in these matchups, and then Lord Vader has no chance. I mean, he could if he could one-shot my characters, but it doesn't really happen. And so with the counter attacks and just 4 basics in a row, it's just like almost over, and then Grief has the next turn, calls to assist, and then it's over, and then 5th GL is down. We have a little bit of finesse there for the burner, but other than that, I was quite happy with the outcome. So that was the back wall, nothing really threatening, so I went to the north wall first to get to ships. And there is this Separatist, Sith-ish mix. Yeah, I just took in JKL. I think it's not overkill, I think it's also not, yeah, maybe it is overkill, you think other things in, but Dooku is still like a threat. And with the Savior from Talon, he's even more a threat, and so I didn't want to, you know, waste any characters here. So I thought, oh, why not using this team? So I used it, and why not? Of course, the damage output from JKL is just bonkers. Minus R9, by the way, so I think he's over 14,000 physical damage, 14.4 or so, or 2. I have to check it, but it helps. Then I went with Wamper against the small comp, Darth Maul that is. No real threat here, because there's no additional potency on this team, so our friend Sidious does have a hard time landing his healing immunity, and at the same time they fall like flies, as you can see, so that was a good use for Wampa, and 58 banners, I'll take them. Then versus the bros with Nest, I just decided to use, again, not necessarily an overkill, but yeah, kind of an overkill for this team with JKR. But at the same time, Nest can pose problems if she's high tenacity, but I didn't really check, to be honest. I just like went in and potentially could have done something else. But I just wanted to be safe. I wanted to clear like the character zones because my opponent couldn't clear my back wall, so I was quite sure if I fail on fleets, I still can win this round. Which I didn't really care before I saw the 5 GLs, but when I saw them, as I said, I felt motivated again so to do something. And so I don't want to just like one-shot these teams and just like get through. So and Nest, as you can see, her max health is reduced, and so here I'm wasting a banner because I could have called GMY to assist and topped off his protection, but yeah, sometimes it doesn't happen because I'm too stupid. Then we have this Dash team, which to me is a total filler team and honestly a waste of Dash. There's absolutely no danger in this team besides of Dash, and there is no tank in the way. I mean, there is, but not really. There is no real synergy between these characters except being scoundrels, and Boba is a disappointment, and L3 doesn't do much, so I think you can, even if you like just pair him with like Kira or I don't know, with Lando, Dash is much more dangerous. But yes, anyway, sorry for rambling. Going back into the back wall, and this counter I've also used the last time. Again, my Gideon is 380, I think. I almost went back to German here. So quite fast, like 400 under VS, and so this team wasn't really a problem. 57 there. Then I used JTR in the bros versus this. This is overkill, but it was also fun against this Phoenix team. I think my opponent didn't really expect me to clear the front wall. That's why you just see filler teams in the back, being like, well, it's just weak teams, which I take. But yeah, like even this team, there wasn't even the Omicron, which I felt like this is again overkill. But why not? It's also fun sometimes just to overkill things, right? I guess if it was Qui-Gon and JKA, they would have done it as a duo, but it was okay. Then we have Rebels versus Rebels, like who's the real rebellion here? And I think CLS has a very hard opinion on that, and tries to get us into the heads of Jun Urso. Yeah, again overkill, but it's it's a great team, CLS. I think Bruiser CLS, like Fatal called it recently in one of his videos. My warning is a bit different from the Bruiser. It's more like Bruise and attack, but it's still nice. Yeah, and eventually I got JMK still left. And I thought, give him a challenge. What is the biggest challenge here? I think it's Ninth Sister, so I used them against the Inquisitors. And of course, because they're Jedis, except Padme, she's maybe a honorable Met Jedi or something like that, they can land their Purge. But I'm still confused about Purge. I know it does something, like for the character who attacks and takes away the stacks of Purge, but I wish it would do something else. I wish Purge would, as soon as you inflict it, something would happen. Because now it's just like, it's a debuff, I can cleanse it, nothing happens to me, ciao. It's weird. If it was like, yeah, each stack of Purge, I don't know, just takes away like 2% of the max health or something once it's inflicted, that would be interesting, or, you know, stuff like that. But now it's just like, okay, build up stacks, and when you have 6 stacks, I can do something. Hooray! But other than that, it's just like, oof, I don't know. Yeah, and I have time to ramble here because, yeah, I mean, this is, again, overkill. I think JMK might even be able to solo this. Maybe. Maybe not. There are ability blocks, and he needs his specials really to shine. That's one of his weaknesses. But other than that, there's no threat. No real threat here. And so I think it's another 57. We'll find out soon. Stay tuned. After this commercial. There's no commercial, sorry. 57, yeah. Yeah, and then I think these were the characters, and I went into fleets, and there was Malevolence, Executor, and Chimera. So I started with Malevolence because I thought it might be the easiest battle, because I changed my fleet defense, set up a bit. I put Executor on defense because I was a bit fed up of like giving my opponents like a too easy time, and also like losing with Executor against Chimera on offense. Yay to that. So I felt like, yeah, let's see what happens. And this is maybe the most straightforward counter, even though I don't play it that often. I think I play it now more often than I used to in Fleet Arena or in Territory Wars, because now I finally see Malevolence on defense and have to use Negotiate. I don't have to, but I use it. And here's a bit like of, yeah, unfortunate RNG that I like the Force Taunt lands on Anakin. Again, how could you do that? It's unfair. And but doesn't really matter too much. Calling in Rex this time just to give him a little bit more of survivability to Anakin here in this case. You know, like some protection back and all that kind of stuff. Then getting his AoE, took out Spy, took out the OG Vulture Droid, and now only had to go after Hyena, and now after Mass Assist, and then that's game over for this fleet. Then versus Executor, we had the offensive lineup, so Finalizer wouldn't do anything, so I felt like, I've never played it so far, but why not, let's try Rebels. It's the first time I'm playing this, didn't even try it in Arena yet. So, taking out IG, I guess, that was nice. And then I was not sure, should I like, I don't really need to heal, maybe I should have healed, but then Bix would have survived here, I don't know. But the message was also okay. Then Xanadu is available. And now is the point, why don't you assist? Like Hans, Brandon, Falcon. Just assist, and this Xanadu is out, and I can die peacefully here. But no, that's why I can't have nice things, because you don't assist. And so I call in Cassian, because there was no taunt on Houndstooth, and no breach or whatever it's called. It had no taunt up, I can't the Xanadu, and now I can die peacefully, finally, just waiting for the moment, you know, when the fleet goes poof and everything is gone. Because in these matchups you never know. But yeah, cleansed, got a blue turn meter, did the wiggle, so Falcon is still safe. Then Slave 1 came in, and here I was like, what should I do? I brought in maybe the wrong ship at this point in time. The Outrider, because I also don't really know what it's doing, except removing buffs in this case, and then going off the battlefield again. So it was again 2 versus 3, and I was like, oh my god, this is 1 versus 3, what's going on here? Han, you're our only hope. I hope you dodge a bit. Had the AoE. Here, I wished I had the AoE, then I would have maybe taken out Slave 1. This was mainly my main target, taking out Slave 1 and yeah, hoping to survive. Then I brought in Wedge, got out Slave 1, and I thought, maybe I have a shot at winning this now, because it's 2 versus 2, and is this winnable? Let's find out. But Wedge was already, bro, I feel like going home. But got a little bit of bonus protection back, and so finally took out Razor Crest. But then Wedge was gone. He finally went home and was like, okay, see you, Falcon, do whatever you want. And then I brought in my last reinforcement, which potentially has the capabilities of helping to take out Houndstooth with the, what's it called, protection, normal protection, you shall not be granted protection move. But at the same time, it also feels bonus protection to Houndstooth, as you can see here. So I was like, oh my god, what is going on here? Is dinner ready yet? No? Okay, then I just keep playing. I don't hate Houndstooth, but I hate Houndstooth. It's just like, oh, here at the right moment, yeah, protection is gone, I can take it out. But no, then it comes to heal again. And this is what, like, yeah, make me so angry again in this battle. Spoiler, I don't take out Houndstooth. Whenever I'm close, it's just like something happens that of course should happen because it's in the kids of the ship, but it's just like, why is the timing so bad? It's like in real life, timing is always so bad. But yeah. Anyway, what else? Looking at Houndstooth, taking all the hits and acting like it's nothing. Maybe it is nothing for Houndstooth, but yeah. And that's why, how old is the ship? 6 years? I don't know. No, 6 years not, but like maybe 5 years, 4 years, I don't know. It's still such a broken ship. It can cost you a match left and right. I mean, I still had 4 capital ships, but actually only 2 fleets. I still had Tarkin and Mace, plus Finalizer and Redus. And the thing is, Chimera is stronger on defense, but at the same time, for such cases, Chimera is the ideal cleanup crew or ship, because you have the one shot and you don't have to care about Houndstooth being invincible. So, food for thought. Maybe Chimera is better on offense for such cases. Yeah, speaking of Chimera, went into Chimera with the Finalizer setup and used the TIE Fighter. I think it's the one that gives like 30% when it comes in turn meter or something like this. Is this the case? I guess I'm probably just making a fool of myself right now because I don't know the kit that well. But anyway, got out TIE Pilot, so no extra turn meter for them, yay. I'm now focused on TIE Bomber, but there was burn, there was buff immunity, there were all those things that make fleets horrible. I want to say don't make fun. They take the fun out of fleets, let's put it like that. English is not my first language, so I'm sorry. Not even my second. So yeah, try to stay on target, like because I'm forced to, like going after TIE Bomber. And again, Relic 9 on crew is such crucial for this fleet to really function, because he just survives and has such a high health steal. Unless TIE Interceptor says, hey, you're out of the game, go home. Okay, I'm going home. And yeah, so at this point in time I was sure this would be lost, because Silencer eventually is the win condition for the Finalizer fleet. I think I would say win condition A+, and then there's win condition A-, which is the shuttle, because it's the engine of the fleet. But yeah, so when the damage dealer is out, there's nothing you can really do. And then comes the one shot, takes out my Ebon Hawk. Thrawn was like, hey, you're not first order, what are you doing here? Go home. I don't know why I'm saying go home. It's just like feel like I want to go home right now. Sorry for all this nonsense. It's just like it's super hard to look at these battles again at times, because it's just so depressing when you look at these fleets. And yeah, Chimera is great on defense. And so I was thinking, so what do? I have like one. I already burned. I recorded it, but I don't show it here because it's useless, I think. Tried to take out Houndstooth solo with the Mace fleet, which didn't happen, of course. And so I had Tarkin with leftover ships, and I had Raiders left as a fleet. And so I was thinking, what do I do now? Do I take in Raiders versus this and get more banners, or do I clear Executor? Like, what is more important to me? This time I was like, I'm going for the banners, and I will clean up this one with the Raiders fleet. Just even if my opponent who only attacked like the Executor clears ships, I still will win this round. So and so I took in Raiders versus the fleet and took out Interceptor with a big hit by Poe. So that was great. Almost took out Vader here, but then eventually took him out with the next move. Just healing up a bit, or cleansing, healing up, took out Vader, and then took out TIE Reapers, I think. 51 banners, and that was fleets, and that is the final result. Thanks for watching. Bye.